All eyes on Hurricane Ian as it takes aim at southwest Florida. It is a formidable storm. It made an exit from western portions of the Cuban Peninsula earlier this morning, now working its way back over the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico, where water temperatures somewhere between about 85 and 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously more than enough to help to reinvigorate this storm. During this update, we'll have the very latest on the stats of Hurricane Ian. Right now a Category 3 storm, but it is expected to strengthen before landfall. We'll show you areas that are most likely to get the brunt of this storm with the latest forecast track. How high the winds will get, how high the storm surge will get, and all those that will be impacted as the storm again is going to make a major U.S. landfall within 24 hours from now. So with that, let's take a look at some of the warnings out there, and we'll get the latest also from the National Hurricane Center. And in the dark red, that does include the Florida Keys. These are actual tropical storm warnings. There have been a few active tornado warnings being spun up with the outer bands ahead of the main storm. But also in the bright red, these are hurricane warnings that do extend south of down to near Naples, Florida, all the way up through Tampa. And you can see additional tropical storm warnings on both sides of the coast across northern sections of the Florida Peninsula. I do have wind gust right now on here. These are sustained. No, these are wind gusts. A wind gust right now coming in of, look at that, 69 miles per hour, about 70 mile per hour wind gust right now in Key West, Florida. Let's take a look at the radar imagery associated with this storm. That eye, very well defined. This radar coming out of Key West, Florida. And it is expected to continue to track off to the north, and somewhere in this vicinity is where we're going to be making landfall. It looks like to the maybe near Cape Coral or just to the north of Cape Coral. Right now, that looks to be the safe bet as far as where this storm is going. At last check with the Hurricane Center, as of the late afternoon update, the storm was located at about let's see the location here, 50 miles to the southwest of Dry Tortugas, or 230 miles to the south of Sarasota, Florida. The barometric pressure has dropped a bit, down to 952 millibar. As mentioned, sustained winds now at 120 miles per hour. It is moving north here at about 10 miles per hour. There's a look at the warnings associated with this. You can see the M on this map here. That stands for major or major hurricane. So it is expected to make landfall as a Cat 3 or higher, Category 3 hurricane. That would be a formidable force. Where it is right now, you're talking about winds of 100 of at least 111 miles per hour. I think it's going to be on the high end of that. And I also think it's a possibility that we could be looking at a Cat 4 hurricane in time. All right, we'll run through a couple of the models here. This is the GFS from earlier today, bringing it onshore, right in between Fort Myers and Tampa, bringing a lot of rainfall as well to the interior sections of central and northern Florida in time. Let's go on over to the high-res NAM. And you can see in time, overnight tonight, early tomorrow. It takes it a little further north before making that right turn right on into Tampa St. Pete. Tampa St. Pete, again, as a very formidable storm. And we'll take a look at one other model here with you. And this is the H-Wharf. It is a hurricane model. Pretty good track record. You can see very concentric eye as it maintains intensity as it makes its way onshore, which appears to be just a short distance to the north of Coral Gables, Florida. So situation is we've got a pretty nasty hurricane out there right now. It is going to maintain or strengthen some before being impacted by some upper level jet stream winds. You can see those here. So the two circulations on the map, the little one down here near Florida, that is your hurricane. It is going to be encountering some of these strong westerlies, which will actually act as a weakening condition upon the hurricane. So at least that little bit is some good news. But regardless, very warm waters. There's really nothing between here and in southwest Florida where it's going to make landfall that's going to strengthen it much in time. So let's talk about sustained winds before we bring this episode to a close here. Allergies. Winds are expected to increase a little bit more. They could make their way to low-end Cat 4. Some of the models are showing low-end Cat 4. That would be sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. That would make this a pretty devastating storm. So that will be a possibility. And then here's a look at some of the storm surge projections by the Hurricane Center. Tampa Bay, 4 to 6 feet. But you get down closer to Coral Gables, that's 8 to 12. And then Naples, about 6 to 9. As far as the storm surge is concerned, rainfall amounts will be excessive. For Central Florida, could be 10, 15 plus inches of rain that will cause some flooding. So obviously we've got our hands full here. I'm going to take one close-up look at the projected track of this storm, and then we'll release this video for updates later on tonight. One more update here before this evening comes to a close. But I did want to look with you guys with the hurricane tracks, the official tracks that we're looking at with this particular storm. And so let's go on over to our radar source. And this is the best fit line. That best fit line represents where the Weather Service, the Hurricane Center, believes that it will come on shore. And if you believe that best fit, it's going to be just north of Cape Coral, which puts a lot of storm surge flooding into Port Charlotte. So that would not be a great scenario, but it does keep the worst of the winds, the worst of the storm surge to the south of Tampa Bay. Which, of course, that is a very, very highly populated area. So that's the official best forecast track. Let's take a look at the forecast cone. So this is kind of like the cone of uncertainty here, where it could make its way onshore as far south as Fort Myers, or it could stay go just north of Tampa. Let's take a look what the forecast models are showing with the spaghetti plot. Yeah, very, very tightly clustered between Sarasota and Port Charlotte. And that is the likely scenario with this particular storm. All right, that's your update for this early evening here on, this is Tuesday, September 27th. Stay tuned. We'll be back with another update by late this evening. You guys have a great evening.